New Thought Media Network. We are a global broadcast network of positive music, media, and entertainment, inspiring humanity's evolution along the journey of enlightenment and creating a world of love, peace, empowerment, and prosperity for all. New Thought Media Network. Positively inspiring.
Welcome to Girls Behaving Metaphysically. Your hosts are two girls who believe that life is awesome, that laughter heals, and that it's possible to find deep spiritual insights in everyday experience.
Here come the girls. It's more than practical. Here come the girls. Way more than merely factual. If you want to know the secrets of a life, it's free. Listen to Girls Behaving Metaphysically. Listen to Girls Behaving Metaphysically.
I don't hear anything. Robyn, you're muted. No,
Okay.
You're not.
Here we are. So take two. Go ahead. Take two, Natasha. Hit it.
Oh, hi. I am Dr. Natasha Wilson, and this is
Robyn Rice Olmsted, and we are Girls Behaving
Metaphysically.
We're not in sync, but we are indeed Girls Behaving Metaphysically. And we're not in sync because we are in two different continents. So
That's right.
I am here in sunny Southern California, which you can't tell by my turtleneck. But Natasha is.
I am in chilly Queensland. Normally it's warm, but it's kind of chilly this morning. So I'm in Queensland, Australia, in Brisbane. Yes.
There you go. So
yeah.
Go ahead.
Go ahead. I was going to just say, but wherever you are, please like us. Please share the podcast. Please comment. So all of that helps spread this beautiful, can I call what we do the gospel with cocktails? It's kind of like it's the gospel with cocktails.
What do you mean with cocktails? What about the chalice that they use and that wine they give you? Everybody's having cocktails. I don't care what they call it.
Hang on. I was raised Catholic. So we used to get behind that thing and drink that wine. Although the adults had wine, we had grape juice, but we knew the difference. We were smart kids.
Yeah.
Yeah. Communion. Loved communion.
Yeah. Communion's good. I didn't like the wafer sticking to the top of my mouth, but I mean, I was like, not a good consistency.
I did. Yeah, but I was a strange kid, though. I was strange. But anyways, whatever. Keep going. Keep going.
All right. So yes, like us and talk to us in the chat. Let us know where you're tuning in from. And today our topic is hidden spirituality.
Yes, Robyn, you must tell us what that means because it sounds very like, ooh.
Everything we do is ooh.
Oh, no. Well, then there's that.
Hidden spirituality. Well, I will tell you, but I won't tell you till after we have a break. And we're not going to do that right now because before we do that, we are going to do something woo. Right?
More woo-woo? Yes. We're going to pull a card. And I've just been trying to think, okay, which deck should I pull from? So I've just decided, let's get spicy. So instead of an oracle card, because you know how oracle cards are. Oracle cards are like, oh, it's always going to be something, nice and lovely to reflect on. And I'm not saying that's not the case with tarot, but I think tarot gets spicy. So let's do tarot. Let's see what card comes up today.
Let's do it.
All right. And Robyn, while I'm shuffling, can you sort of give folks an idea of what it is we're going to do with the card we pull?
Sure. Besides, keep them together.
No, but that's a sign they fell out. That they fell, so they chose us instead of me choosing. But tell them what we're gonna do before I introduce the card.
All right, so we're going to take a look at the card and see what it's here to tell us and what it's bringing into our life today, or how it's been represented in the past week, or we're going to see what comes up around it, because the meaning behind the cards is that they're here to teach you something, to tell you something, to guide you in some way. So let's see what it has to say.
So I'm going to choose the one that came up in the present position, not all of them, just one. And it is the Ace of Wands. I'm trying to get it so that you can see this image.
It's good. Just stop moving. Yeah. It's good.
Yeah, I just want to, Robyn, stop drinking. See it?
Yeah.
It's the Phoenix. I just want to know what this brings up for people, because I know what it brings up for me right away. And the wands represent magic in the tarot deck, our internal magic, and the magic that's in the world. So the Ace of Wands. So a hand with the magic wand and the Phoenix on top. So I'm wondering, what does that bring up for people?
So if you want to put that in the chat, that would be helpful. I'll tell you honestly, for me, it brings up nothing.
Really?
Yeah.
Oh, okay. Brings up stuff for me. So the Phoenix is all about rebirth, right? It is about rebirth. The wand is about magic, and it's the ace, which means it's about newness, about rediscovery possible, reclamation of one's magic. So that, now does it bring up something?
Sure, of course. But I mean, I had no idea. I don't know that much about tarot cards. I know about tarot cards, but it's like, I don't go, ooh, I got the cups or whatever it is. Ooh, I got the death one. I'm like, whatever. What? That's
what do you do that on? You do anything? Do woo about anything?
Well, yeah, I go from nothing is woo because everything is woo.
Yeah, that's true.
I mean, yeah, I can find the mystical in everything. I mean, I could have looked at the picture and gone, ooh, the symbology and the arcs and the this and the that, but that wasn't happening. So
okay. Maybe I'll put it up again for you to look at it.
No, I don't want to see it again. Oh, so welcome to Gil William Olmsted. He says, hi, girls. Looks like the symbol of the Pentecostal church.
Oh, I don't know what that symbol looks like.
Well, I bet you if you give us about 60 seconds, our producer is going to pop it up on the screen because he's cool like that. I kind of get the feeling of that, though. I understand what you're saying, Gil, because it has those, it's kind of, I don't know, that wingy part reminds me of something.
The wingy part.
Well, you know what I mean, that part that looked wingy. Yeah. So how's that shown up for you? What does that mean to you? What's happening? What happens for you around that card?
Well, I don't know. I see it, and because I don't know, coming through this bout of COVID has been a very sort of slow recovery for me. I feel in some ways it has really sort of not forced me, but helped me really be in my body, So, and for me, that's come with like when I'm tired, I'm not pushing through tired now. I am really like, okay, no, take a moment and let's rest. And somehow when I do that, that really does I feel in touch with my power, which is what I understand as my magic anyways. And so, and also just in general, the Phoenix, my sun sign and sun and moon is Scorpio. Fire represents the Holy Spirit. There we go. But my sun and moon are Scorpio, and sort of the symbology around Scorpio is also the Phoenix, like that constant cycle of dying and being reborn from the ashes, being reborn from the ashes, which is how I feel coming through COVID, like I'm being reborn from the ashes.
Yeah. Well, that makes sense.
Yeah.
That makes sense. I mean, I think for me, it just, I mean, when I look at it in regards to my week, I think that, yeah, I mean, the Phoenix always, I mean, I think we're being reborn in every moment on some level. And especially if we're consciously awake and aware and watching that, you know, I mean, like I have many times where I feel like I'm watching myself, you know, and then I go, oh, would you look at that? Oh, look how I reacted to that. Isn't that different? You know, and I feel like I've had a week like that where, you know, yeah, just speaking up and holding back when I needed to hold back, but speaking up is generally more the challenge for me, you know. And I feel like that it's directly related to stepping into my power. And, you know, I had a long conversation with a friend today about, you know, just really knowing what's ours to do and not, this is just a summary. It wasn't really the whole conversation, but like not taking on things that aren't yours and being able to vocalize that, you know, at any cost, you know, because you do have to deal with the fact that people have known you for years and years and years, or known me for years and years and years, and expect me to go, okay, I'll do it. Do that, or, you know, or take something on that's not ours to do.
Yeah.
So I feel like that's the power for me. That's the power that we're talking about.
I think that's beautiful. I'm also thinking, you know, I spoke to you yesterday, Robyn, and I was telling you about how like just insane the day was. I literally reached out to a friend who is somewhat into astrology. I think it's all fun, right? Everything is one. And I was like, what is going on in the cosmos? Because my work day was crazy. My husband was having like this really crazy day at work. And I was just like, I just wanted my family to get home, and I sort of just wanted to hunker down and have the day be over. But when my kids got home, I pulled out my Palo Santo, which is like what I smudge with. And when I was smudging my daughters, and they always know something's up, Mama pulled out the smudge stick. So I'm looking at a fire represents the manifestation of the spirit. When I was smudging my daughters, I was saying, I sang as a form of reclamation of spirit, like mother, daughter, Holy Spirit, mother, daughter, Holy Spirit, mother, daughter, Holy Spirit. And they just get so excited when I do that. They're like, Mom, so that means God is also the mother and the daughter? I'm like, that's right. God is it all. But for them to like feel that deep connection with this thing we call God, and to feel that that's represented in them, it was more important than the smudging, to see how they lit up around it, you know.
Yeah, that's very cool. That's very cool. Yeah. So they're asking, what does Ace of Wands mean in a general context? The Ace of Wands represents good news.
Yes.
And new beginnings.
Yes.
It signifies taking action, physically starting something new.
Yeah.
Initiative and finding new passion, enthusiasm, or spark. Mm-hmm. It's a minor arcana card of accepting a challenge and getting fired up and getting in the game.
Yes. Yes.
Put me in, coach.
Yes.
Well, that I mean that's what I feel like, you know. But it's the difference, I think, for me right now is I feel like I'm talking to myself when I say put me in, coach. You know, I'm talking to God. I'm talking like, okay, I got it. We got it. Put me in. You know, which is different than thinking that it's out there.
That's right.
See how that leads us right into our topic?
Hidden spirituality.
Yes.
Yeah. Yeah.
You got
so I know we're going to talk about that next, but are you going to tell people a little bit what it's about before we jump in?
Well, if you
are we going to leave it hidden?
To know so much, why don't you tell them?
No, I'm fine to leave it hidden. I'm just fine.
I mean, I don't know what there is to say about it. I mean, that isn't going to be uncovered when we come back after the break. Right now, we're going to do it right now. So you all think about what you think hidden spirituality means and put it in the chat so that when we get back, we'll tell you right here on New Thought Media Network.
Please help us say thank you to our organizational sponsors, including the Hefferland Foundation, Affiliated New Thought Network, International New Thought Alliance, Science of Mind Archives and Library Foundation, Center for Spiritual Living Denver, Center for Spiritual Living Midtown, New Thought Philadelphia, Planned Happiness Institute, Summit Center for Spiritual Living, One Heart Retreats, Center for Spiritual Living on the Lake, Unity Kitchener, Unity Spiritual Center Ottawa, Om Center for Spiritual Living, Satya Center, Begin Within Ministries, Center for Spiritual Living North Jersey, Unity of Savannah, and the Center for Spiritual Living Seattle, as well as all of our individual donors. Thank you for being part of the New Thought Media Network. Please like, share, and subscribe. New Thought Media Network, positively inspiring.
Welcome to Girls Behaving Metaphysically. Your hosts are two girls who believe that life is awesome, that laughter heals, and that it's possible to find deep spiritual insights in everyday experience.
Here come the girls. It's more than practical. Here come the girls. Way more than merely factual. If you want to know the secrets of a life that's free, listen to Girls Behaving Metaphysically. Listen to Girls Behaving Metaphysically.
And we are back.
Yes, we are.
I am Robyn Rice Olmsted.
And I'm Dr. Natasha Wilson here in Queensland, Australia, land of the Queens. I'm just saying.
We are Girls Behaving Metaphysically. I'm just saying. So we are going to talk today about hidden spirituality. Hidden spirituality.
What is that, Robyn? Like, what is that? That what is that? You came up with that. You came up with that.
I did. So what do you think it is?
No,
but apparently I'm the one that knows. So you tell me now what you would think that was.
I think it's hidden. I don't think I'm meant to know. Because it's hidden.
Is that the way you want to describe it to the people? Oh, so what?
No.
So, hidden spirituality. Okay, go.
I'm being silly. You know, I believe in being like the lilies in the field, spinning and toiling not. I like to, okay. None of my jokes land.
No, I thought you were going to bust a rhyme, though. Like, you like the lilies because they're silly. I was all ready.
Oh my God, your jokes are worse than mine. Okay. Anyways. Somebody has to like get the dad jokes, but
they're yours. I don't do dad jokes.
Okay, fine. Hidden spirituality. What is that to me? To me, when you say that, when you brought it up yesterday, I was really feeling into for me, that meaning how things are spiritual that we don't normally think of as spiritual. Not that it's necessarily hidden, but it's just not apparent that that would be considered spiritual. That's what I think you mean when you say hidden spirituality.
And Michael Mangus is saying that hidden spirituality is finding the divine in the everyday.
But what about what I said?
We're all one. Just take the acknowledgement as your own.
No. I want what I said there. What did I say, Michael? Michael, what did I say? I know you're there, Michael.
All right.
You're hidden. This is hidden spirituality.
Okay.
Come out of the dark. Okay.
So I think I think you're both right. Thank you. I got, so those of you that can't figure it out, Gil is my husband, and he is commenting from the outside world. And I can't, it's hard to do a show without dad jokes. So I do miss you there, buddy.
I'm going to hold you down, Gil. I'll hold you down. I got us covered.
Okay. Focus, everyone. Hidden spirituality. I think that there's, you asked, now let me answer. I think that it's I like the definition of finding, the divine in everyday things, but I also think that it is when, I think it's in everything. So I think it's in the things we don't see, and I think there's things that we don't acknowledge as spiritual. So I think you can find it everywhere. I think there's all different meanings. It depends what it means to you, but I think it is about, ultimately, it's about recognizing the divine in everything. And I think that that's a journey. I'm complete.
Nice. I agree.
All right.
Mm-hmm.
So, but there are times, there are times and things that I think it's hard to remember that, I think it's hard to remember that. And there's, things that don't feel as sacred as something else. So, let's just start at the very beginning. And it's funny, actually, well, I'll go back to that, but what is spiritual?
So for me, I think of spiritual, just for me, spiritual, again, because it's anything, but the way I sort of like hone it in, it's really about what gives me a sense of meaning, a sense of purpose. Spirituality is something that helps me remember that I'm a part of the divine order. Like I always lean into the divine order. So for me, that's what spirituality is. So it's very broad. It's very broad. Yeah.
Yeah. And I think spirituality means different things to different people, right?
Absolutely.
For some people, it's about a belief in God and could be active participation in organized religion or something. And for others, it's about non-religious experiences that help them get in touch with their spiritual selves. And that could be through quiet meditation or quiet reflection, time in nature, prayer, yoga. It could be through any practice. For that matter, it could be through, playing a sport or doing something like that feels zen to you. But I'm going to read you the definition of spiritual. It is relating to or affecting the human spirit or soul as opposed to material or physical things. I'm responsible for his spiritual welfare is the example. And it says relating to religion or religious belief, the tribe's spiritual leader. There you go. So, and I think I'll tell you another interesting thing, and this is really a whole different topic, but when I have a show title or something or a topic, I like to just Google it to see what's out there. So I Googled hidden spirituality, and the thing that came up mostly, I didn't go through all the pages, but like for the first 2 pages was the hidden spirituality of men. And because there's been books written called that, but it's all about men awakening to their sacred spiritual. And it made me think like, you know, are women more in touch with their sacred spiritual?
Yeah, I don't know. I don't know. I don't like those kinds of juxtapositions. I think yeah, I don't like those kinds of juxtapositions personally. I think I don't know. I mean, it's great. It's great in terms to think about it in terms of sort of giving our mind something to grasp onto. But no, I don't think anyone's more inherently spiritual than anyone based on something like their gender or their sex necessarily. Now, I think we can be socialized in ways to see things as more interconnected or not. And there's tons of research that points to women are being socialized as women and girls as having a thicker, oh God, what's the middle thing that connects the 2 hemispheres of the brain? I can't think of it, but that being thicker in humans that are socialized as women and girls. But again, we don't know if that's because of how we're socialized or if that's because of like just how we're born naturally. So yeah, personally, yeah, because again, we're more socialized to think about the way things connect.
Well, I would say, I also think, I think as a whole, generally, this is a broad generalization, but I think that women are also more in touch with their emotions, and which makes it easier for them to connect with that inner voice.
Yeah.
And where did
Again, huh?
Myrna said that hidden spirituality for her is to follow that voice within called spirit.
Yeah. Again, there's, like I said, there's tons and tons of research that shows that women and girls, the human beings who are socialized as women and girls, we are socialized in a way that helps us see the connections in things, which is interesting because like when it comes to spirituality, it comes to spiritual leadership, often we don't see women in those positions of spiritual leadership as much. That is a bit different in New Thought. I think New Thought, is different in that way. But again, I think about how the world would be if women were just, because of how we're socialized to think about connections and to see the interconnections, and our corpus callosum, it is thicker. And so we connect both hemispheres of the brain, meaning we use both hemispheres of the brain. So we see the interconnections in things. So, and I also think we're socialized to be more in touch with our emotions. But I think human beings who are born male and boys, they're born with the same capacity. They're just not raised. We literally socialize emotions out of boys, right, and just give them a very limited range of emotions that are okay to feel, which is probably
and I agree and that's a whole different topic. I mean, but that's an interesting topic because I think, how do we we could break it down like that about societies too, different societies that have have been raised and brought up in a different way.
Mm-hmm.
So let's talk about some things, though, that people might not consider spiritual.
All right, let's go.
Okay.
Like what? Like what? Like a cocktail, Robyn?
I don't know.
No, I really want to think about that, because it's something that we're going to, we have cocktails on the show, but I think there's a reason that they're called spirits, these cocktails. So I'm just curious, Like, what's your take on that?
Well, I mean, I think that there's a lot of things that I think if somebody is, let's just say, opposed to something, that they then begin to think of it as, not in line. It's like when you say to somebody, you're going to church, and they have all different ideas about what church is. I think that, but I think there's basic things that people might not think of as spiritual, like changing a baby's diaper, doing the dishes, getting gas in the car. All of those things might not be considered spiritual.
Yeah. I know one of the things that is super missing from my life that I deeply considered that used to always be very spiritual for me was going to a drag show. Going to drag shows were like going to church for me in a lot of ways, between the music and the dance, because dance is how I pray. So I'm not even gonna go there. But then the music, the pageantry, watching people sort of drop all these sort of inhibitions about who they're supposed to be in society. It's just a deeply spiritual experience for me, just deeply spiritual. And yeah, I remember the last time I had like this super, when I say spiritual experience, I mean like I felt connected to life, to what it means to be life. Was like, it was a house party with house music in Chicago after a drag show. It was the most beautiful thing. We were all synced up. We all knew the music. It was so heavenly. And I remember leaving there feeling like I just went to church and it was good. Yeah. As a matter of fact, one of the songs we danced to was a gospel song by Aretha Franklin, and it was so good. And I know most people wouldn't think of that as spiritual, but it was super spiritual.
But I think you bring up a good point, because so when you look at the feeling tone of what you were feeling, that's what made it spiritual to you.
Absolutely.
So the trick is really, how do you get that feeling tone in the everyday, which is exactly what Michael said in the beginning. But how do you get that feeling tone when you're picking up dog poop in the backyard, or when you are at the gym working out, or when when you're doing something you don't particularly want to do, whatever that is?
Does that happen for you?
For me?
Yeah.
I know how Gil picks up the dog poop.
I never feel, I forget all things spiritual when I'm cleaning up dog caca.
Well, that's what I'm saying. But to me, that's like the deepening.
You saying it's hitting in the dog poo?
No.
Oh, sorry.
Well, you could say that. I could argue that side of the coin.
Actually, you could. That's true.
It's
fertilizing.
Well, but yeah, fine. It's everywhere. That's the point, is that, if you can't find it, if you can't find it in everything, it's still hidden, because it's there. Mm. You're allowed to laugh out loud.
It's fine. That's fine. Just like, that's it. It's hidden in the dog poo. But I don't, go ahead, because I had an insight.
No, I mean, I remember doing a project when I was in practitioner training, and we had to find the spirituality in something we didn't like to do. Mm. And so can you go out and, God, I feel like a 6-year-old boy saying dog poop over and over again. Or girl, sorry. I don't mean to be whatever. But I mean, can you go out and to do something you don't want to do and find that space where you're finding that same ecstasy that you find in meditation or dance or walking in in nature, or whatever, your personal preference is.
You can. It's there. It's in everything. Clearly the dog poop. But remember last week, we found peace, which is a spiritual principle, in going to poop. Going to pee.
This show has taken a turn once again, ladies and
I
gentlemen.
don't want it to. I actually have everything written down to stay on track today. Okay, so
Okay.
Robyn, what I think is what I really want to know is, so what's the thing that you discovered hidden spirituality in that you, I don't know. I can see the spirituality in the dog poo, but I'm like, what is it for you?
But it's not in the dog poo. It's not that.
Is it not? It
No,
kind of
it's not.
is.
No, it isn't.
Oh, it's okay.
I mean, for me, it isn't.
Go ahead. I want to.
I mean, for you, it may be, but for me, it's in freeing my mind of whatever my thought is around whatever I'm not wanting to do or not thinking is spiritual or wherever I'm not connecting with God. So if I go to do something and I'm not connecting with the divine in that moment, and I'm not in that place of oneness or knowingness, then it's not there. But it's got to be there because it's everywhere. But that doesn't mean that, I was in a meeting yesterday where one might say it certainly wasn't in me. I could feel my head spinning and I wanted to, yell at everybody. And it was mine to find the moment in there and the joy in there and the release in there of my little thoughts in order to get to the place of knowingness around each person being the face of God.
Are you saying that, like, at the start you couldn't see the face of God in people?
No.
Mm.
No, I'm just saying that I wasn't having a spiritual experience in the way that one might think one should have one in that moment of connection to the divine.
How do you remind yourself, though? How do you come back to that place? I think that is really helpful for people.
How do I do it? Generally I breathe.
Okay.
I'm super aware of what's happening in me when it's happening.
Yeah. So you're aware of your self-talk.
I'm aware when I'm uncomfortable enough that when I feel like, the minute I start to judge or think something about someone else, then I know that it's time for me to take a breath and recalibrate.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
But I think that that's a good question. And so I would ask you the same question. It's like, that's the whole point is like, we all know, everyone here knows about, the spirituality and, but how do you get back to that place when you're losing sight of it?
Yeah. For me, it really is my feelings. So I know that I am not in alignment with what I call the divine order. That's always my guiding post. So I say this a lot, and I know my clients probably get sick of hearing it. My kids get sick of hearing it, and they don't always know what it means, and they tell me, and that's why I love them. I love them for other reasons and lots of reasons. But I always say, I don't know what keeps Mars from running into Venus. I don't know what keeps my heart from falling down to my feet, because when you look at the internal structure of the human anatomy, I don't know. There's something happening there. I know gravity keeps me on the planet, so I know but I don't understand, like, like what causes gravity? What is it that causes me to breathe? And like, I don't control it. So whatever that divine order is, I know when I am out of alignment because of how I feel. It's usually anxious, and it's usually because my self-talk on some level is making me think that there's something in life that I need to be controlling. And I don't like the feeling. And so literally my feelings get me to sort of become aware of what I'm thinking. And then I decide to think something else. And then eventually I feel back in alignment. And for me, it's about really letting myself unfold into whatever that is that keeps the stars exactly where they need to be, that keeps Mars rotating on its axis, that keeps the Earth exactly. I lean into that and know and remember that I'm a part of that.
Yeah.
And it all starts with feeling, noticing my feelings.
Yeah. I mean, I think that's a good overview. And I think what Michael said, awareness comes from developing an observer self. That's done through meditation. I mean, it's done other ways as well. And I think that that's the beginning step. Obviously, if we sit in meditation, we, have a longer time to be with the process. But
Yeah.
I mean, I think it's the awareness is key. Awareness is the first step. And I mean, so it's the same. Even if you're standing in line at the supermarket and you notice that you're getting irritated, what is that? You're same thing. You're in a hurry. You want to get somewhere. It's like if you're able to stop and be aware, look at that. This is pulling up this feeling or this emotion, and what's that really about? If I'm truly living from a place that it's all in divine order, then I've got to go back and breathe and relax. Some level. Not necessarily relax, because that doesn't always happen, but relax into the moment.
Yeah. Or breathe into the moment, which made me think about like, okay, so what is meditation? And I remember one definition of meditation that has stayed with me, and that's like paying undistractable attention to what is real, the big R, real with the big R. And for me, the big R is that divine order. Always go back to divine order. But so meditation is paying undistractable attention to that. So that can be done in so many ways. So many ways. So yeah.
So what activities do you find bring you back to center besides breathing? Like when you're, really just trying to, I hate to say like expand your spirituality, but when you're trying to, live more into it or something, what draws you most? What activities do you find most fulfilling?
For me, dance really and truly. And granted, I was going to say you can't always dance, but that's not true. That I dance. I can dance in my chair. I dance in the supermarket. I dance. But when I'm really like focused in on being more expansive, I am dancing more, but I am also, and I know said like not breathing, but I am paying more attention to my breaths. Like, am I breathing? Like, am I finding I'm breathing more shallow? Am I breathing more deeply? Like these things are cues, but also my feelings. I cannot say enough about my feelings, how they snap me back to awareness. And normally if I'm feeling crummy, I realize I I'm like, automatically, what am I thinking, or what is my self-talk? So nothing really like out there, like really like just paying attention to how I'm feeling. It's incredible.
Well, I think in that same vein, when you say pay attention to how you're feeling, and when you were talking about dance and that you can't dance, I think there's also a point at which if you know that dancing is what centers you, even this for me, even if I'm in a meeting or I'm somewhere where, yeah, I can't stand up and just dance, or I can't, see the beach, or I can't, go swimming, or whatever it is that makes me feel that oneness and that calm and that excitement and that joie de vivre, that joy of life.
Mm.
Can you call it forth as a feeling in your body?
Yes.
So that you call that forth, and that allows you to be present in the moment, but shift that energetic.
Yes, absolutely. Yes. Yes. Yeah. Although sometimes I have to admit, but I don't care. Like if you talk to my family, they still say I'm the weird one in the family, and that's fine. But if I'm at a meeting or something like that, and I will get up, I will go to the bathroom, and I will go into a stall, and I will do the dancer's pose. I will just stand there and do the dancer's pose. And that helps me. That helps me. Because sometimes I just need to do that, and that's okay. So I do that. So sometimes I go to the bathroom, and it's not to pee. It's to do the dancer's pose.
I'm so glad we could say pee one more time.
Why not?
But it's funny. I was listening to Michael Beckwith yesterday, and I think he told this story. I don't know if it was yesterday or if I read it, but he told this story too about how years and years ago when he was working at somewhere with Liz Sprinkles and a bunch of old timers, and that they would literally like take a bathroom break all the time because he's like, I didn't have to go to the bathroom. I would just go in there and be. I just had to go in and meditate in the bathroom. I had to. So like it became code for, taking that break to get to the new place, to regroup with everything that was going on there. And yeah, the bathroom is good, but you can't always do the bathroom, so it's like to start to hone that kind of a skill where you can breathe, remember, and connect to that feeling, or there's times like, for example, I know there's times when I'm doing something and I breathe and remember, Gil, my husband, saying to me, you got this, it's okay. Or somebody that's important, you got this, so that you feel that energetic.
Yeah. I always can go to the bathroom. I rarely can't go to the bathroom.
I don't mean physically. I mean leave a meeting.
Oh, yeah, I can.
Okay, well, you're very special.
I know.
Very special. So maybe I just won't. So whatever. I mean, sometimes for me, it's just not energetically the right time to get up and go. Sometimes it's about staying and being for me. But I'm a stayer beer, so
yeah. And look,
and to that, I'm also a stayer beer, and I believe I can shift the energy in the room. So there's that.
There is.
It's I guess it's like I feel like we should have our own carts, to pull and see, like, are you the archetype of the challenger? Do you stay in the room and try to change the energy, or are you I must need my space, I must meditate? I think there's different ways that speak to people and work, right?
Yeah. I'm the latter. I need to get up, walk away, and go dance, because that's really what I'm doing when I'm holding the dancer pose. And then I come back. And then I can probably shift the energy in the room. But by that time, I don't really care. So there's that.
All right. Well, I was so. What about spirituality and science? Do you think they coexist?
I think they're the same thing. I think they're different languages for the same thing. So I'm sorry, I don't have a very intriguing answer for that. They don't live as this dichotomized thing in my brain. They just don't. I know they do in a lot of people's brains, and that's fine. And I think the defining line there is this thing about faith. However, I think science, especially quantum physics, is all the things that we thought were just woo-woo or whatever. Like, we're seeing that no, there is an evidence base to this. So anyways, again, they occupy the same space in my awareness, but they use different languages. But I understand that that's not true for a lot of people. So I'm curious what you or other people think about that.
Yeah, I'm going to share a quote, a Carl Sagan quote, that science is not only compatible with spirituality, it is a profound source of spirituality.
Duh. Yeah. Like, Einstein often dreamt these formulations and calculations and ideas. Like, same thing with Tesla. Like, things came in dreams, and so it's like, of course, the spirituality, and I don't know. I just don't see them as this thing. But we live in a Descartesian sort of logical Western society where, things exist on these opposite ends of a pole, when they're the same thing. So I guess that doesn't make it as juicy or interesting when you see how things are connected easily.
I don't know. I think it does make it juicy because there's the other side of it. So if you were on the other side thinking that science didn't play a part in it, I think it becomes juicy to figure out, that why we're called, why it's called science of mind, and what those, and all those nuances, like you just said, of like Einstein and all the people that have gone before us, Einstein and all the names just went out of my head just like that. But Michael, you'll put some up. Some of those spiritual folk calling you out. But
Nikola Tesla, right? Like, his whole thing was like, we can generate energy from the zero-sum field. I mean, that's what we're talking about as the quantum field these days. I mean, it's like, yeah, it's always it's beyond compatible spiritual. So I think, again, yes, it becomes juicy when we do sort of find ourselves on one end of a spectrum or another. I was saying it's not juicy when you sort of are not like that.
Yeah, I got it.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. So what else? I think that, just to me, just deepening, I would just say, if you can use your practices, your spiritual practices, and maybe just take a different,
I'm Swani, yeah.
a different bent to it this week and deepen in your practice. Or you can take something that you haven't done and make it a spiritual practice. Like, maybe your bike ride, or maybe your dog walk, or maybe, instead of just having it be, oh, I got to walk the dog, maybe it's, I have the opportunity to walk the dog, and that becomes, your new nature walk or something. Just play around with it and see where you can find the hidden spirituality in the mundane things that we do every day.
Well, one of the things I know that you do every day and that I love about you, like, and I've said this before, I've said on the show, I just love how you pray. Your way of doing affirmative prayer does something to my toes and my soul and everything. And so I know we're going to talk about that coming up soon, but I'm wondering how you feel about maybe sometime taking us out with a prayer.
All right. Well, this is going to be our topic for next week. We're going to talk about prayer and what is prayer and living your prayer. And you can see where this is going. So, sure. Is there anything specific that you would like prayer for?
No. And actually, no, I'm not going to talk about dog poop. No, just, yeah, pray. Just pray. All
right. Well, let's just take a moment. I'm just going to take a moment and be grateful. So grateful for just being here with everyone, being able to even have this platform, having our voices heard, living somewhere in a country, in a place where we can speak our mind and have our voices out and have people answer back and share. And that really does live us into the oneness that God is, lives us into that space of love, of peace, of joy, of compassion, of infinite possibility. And just knowing that that is who God is, I know without a shadow of a doubt that I am that I am. That I am inseparable from all of those qualities, from the love, from the peace, from the compassion, from the infinite possibility that God is, that there I am not separate. I am connected. I am connected in the holy union. And I know this is true for Natasha and Michael and New Thought Media Network and Myrna and Gil and everyone listening out there that didn't speak their name. I know that right where you are, God, is that you are feeling that love of God. And I know that as we move out into our week, that it is a blessed week, that it is an amazing week, that we stop and we open up our mind and our eyes and our hearts to know that there is no mundane, that God is truly there in each and every moment, in each and every place. So we see it in the flower creeping up through the crack in the sidewalk, and we see it in the places where we might not, and we see it in our cranky bank tellers or whatever it is. We see it. We see God, and we know the truth of who they are. And as we walk in that way, as we walk in the world in that love and in that light, we shine it. We shine it out. We shine it out to new places and new faces that we may never know or see or touch, but we know that we have touched a life. And that is the oneness that we are living in. That is the essence of who we are. So we take it out in a new way, being fully aware and awake and activating this passion, this power, this purpose within ourselves. And we take that out and shine it into the world just by being who we are. So stay awake. And so it is.
And so it is, Ashe. And that's girls behaving metaphysically.
It is, and we'll see you next week. Amen, amen.
All right.